Hi, I'm Jayesh, Ranjan. Greetings to all of you. I work for the state government in the state of Telangana in India, and I look after the subjects of information technology, industries, entrepreneurship, skilling, etc. I'm sure all of you know this, that India is a federal country. There are 28 states like in the United States, and I represent the state which is called Telangana. This is somewhere towards the center of the country, between south and center. Many of you may not be familiar with Telangana, but I'm sure all of you would have heard of our capital city, which is Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a very important center for technology, for life sciences, for aerospace and defense, for knowledge-based industries, and that is where I'm located. I wish I was there in person attending this conference along with all of you. But nevertheless, I'm very happy that I'm getting a chance at least to share my thoughts virtually. I want to tell all of you about a very significant project that our government here in Telangana is embarking upon. Most of you would be aware that there are some Indian cities, including my city of Hyderabad, which has great healthcare facilities. If you visit some of our healthcare institutions, and let us say you go to the reception of a hospital, typically they have boards there mentioning who are the doctors, what is their background, what disciplines they belong to, and you will notice in many hospitals the entire list will have doctors who have studied in the US, who have trained in the US or UK or possibly Germany, who have worked there, practiced there, and now they have come back and they are part of this particular hospital. You will have hundreds of such doctors who have received the best possible education, training, practice in the West, and more or less are following the same standards. So despite having such amazing healthcare facilities, we do get international patients to Hyderabad, but if you look at who these international patients are, we find that most of them are from, let us say, Bangladesh or Afghanistan or Kuwait or Oman or Uganda or Tanzania. We don't get patients from affluent countries, for example, the United States or Britain or Germany or anywhere else. And it is not to say that there are no challenges in accessing healthcare in the US or UK or elsewhere. I know for sure, I myself used to be a student in the US, I've lived there for a year. I know for sure that there are certain kinds of surgeries, certain kind of therapies which are not covered in insurance, and therefore they are very costly. In UK also I know that there is what is called as the National Health Services or the NHS, but there is a huge wait time. The costs are low because of NHS subsidies, but you have, for even a minor kind of an ailment, you have to wait for months altogether to get it treated. So I know that there are challenges, but still we fail to attract patients from, let us say, US or Europe to India and to Hyderabad. People like you may be going to Canada, maybe going to Singapore, maybe going to somewhere else, but very few American patients or British patients come to India and to Hyderabad. So what we have decided is, we have done some research to find out what is it that can move the needle. Despite the fact that we have best healthcare institutions, despite the fact that a majority of the doctors who work in these healthcare institutions have been trained and educated in the West, we are not able to convince patients that this is a great place to come and get yourself treated. So our research has shown that instead of an Indian hospital who is inviting American patients, if it is an American healthcare institution which sets up its unit in Hyderabad and obviously gives that sense of confidence that the same quality standards, the same procedures, the same familiarity with the US health systems which patients have back home, the same is replicated here, then possibly the confidence to come over and try out, etc., will be there. So based on this particular research, our government is embarking upon something very significant, and that is exactly what I wanted to share with you. So we are setting a medical tourism hub. Our interest is to set up this hub by attracting lots of overseas or global healthcare institutions, largely from the US, but a few from, let us say, the UK or elsewhere in the world. But predominantly, we are targeting American healthcare institutions who enjoy a very high reputation, very good track record, and some of their procedures, etc., are very, very well kind of recognized and patronized. Some of these could be very niche kind of institutions also. For example, a institution which only does dental related work, or an institution which only does, let us say, knee replacement or a hip joint replacement, or an institution which only looks at hair transplant. So whatever is a big ask in the US and the existing institutions are not able to fulfill everyone's needs, the insurance costs are very, very high, or it's not covered at all under insurance. So those kind of institutions will be our preference. So in this medical tourism hub that we are setting up, there are 3 USPs, actually 4 USPs. There are 4 USPs about it. The first USP is that the land that we will be providing, this hub is coming up over a 15,000 acres of city, a satellite city, which is called the 4th city or the future city. And I'll tell you in a while about this 4th city, future city also. A part of that 4th city will be carved out as a medical tourism hub. It is all government land. The land belongs to the government of Telangana. So one USP is that the land will be made available absolutely free of cost. We will not charge anything for that land. The second important USP is that, let us say, a healthcare institution in the US feels attracted enough to decide to set something in Hyderabad. We will expect you to set up only your core facilities. Your capital expenses, your capital expenditure will only be in setting up your treatment rooms, your diagnostic rooms, your administrative rooms, etc. Let us say you will employ some people and you have to take care of your housing. You don't have to spend money on that. Any facility which is shareable will be provided by someone else for all the health institutions which are located in that hub. So you don't have to set up your own cafeteria, you don't have to set up your own pharmacy, you don't have to set up, let us say, something else which is also going to be set up by everyone else. So these facilities will be set up by some developers which the government will bring in, and obviously you will use their services at some payment terms or some contractual terms, but your capex requirements will significantly come down. The third USP, of course, is that in that hub, while there be mainstream treatment disciplines, but I'm sure all of you are familiar that India also has certain very unique healthcare systems which are traditional to India. For example, yoga. Many of you would be familiar that yoga is a discipline which promotes wellness. Similarly, there's an ancient Indian medicine stream which is called Ayurveda. So I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it is like the traditional Chinese medicine. It also has lots of proven scientific backing on which are the Ayurvedic medicines, etc., work well for different systems. So I know that there are many people who come to India to learn about yoga or get this Ayurvedic treatment. Kerala is one of the centers in India where lots of Ayurveda is practiced, and some of it is coming for, I would imagine, almost 600-700 years. There's a long legacy of Ayurveda, and by this time everything has been perfected. So those centers also will be there in the medical hub. So you may go for your mainstream treatment in one of the hospitals, but then that can be supplemented through yoga, through Ayurveda in one of the other centers which is also in that same hub. One other USP is, and that is what I want to tell you about this future city or the 4th city. So our government is setting up a greenfield satellite township which is called the 4th city, which is very close to our Hyderabad International Airport. Hyderabad Airport incidentally is rated as one of the best airports in the country today, and possibly best in the Asia, and amongst the top in the world also. So your experience of the airport will be fantastic. The city's commute is also very, very easy, and about 15 kilometers from the airport, 15 minutes commute from the airport, about 20 to 25 kilometers from the airport, this satellite greenfield city is coming up. This is spread over 20,000 acres, and there are different zones in this 4th city. And as I mentioned, one of the zone is on medical tourism. But just to let you understand the context, like who else will be occupying that space in those 20,000 acres, there will be an education city. Again, we are trying to get the best global universities to set up their Indian campuses there. One will be a sports hub where very high-level coaching and performance monitoring of elite athletes, people who are serious about various kinds of Olympic sports, all that will be happening. There will be an AI city, which will focus on how new generation technologies, particularly AI, can be utilized. So there will be compute infrastructure available. There will be innovation centers. There will be an experience center. Companies which are working on AI products and solutions, they will have their offices. So there will be an AI city. There will be a couple of clusters, 4 clusters to be precise, which will focus on manufacturing, because there has to be some economic imperative of that satellite township. But these will all be green manufacturing. There will be no polluting manufacturing, which will be allowed in that thing. And of course, there will be a township which will have housing, which will have shopping, which will have entertainment, which will have convention centers, and so on and so forth. So the medical tourism hub is a part of this larger development which is being planned, and I am very sure that once the entire future city is up and running, this will be the talk of not just India but everywhere else also. People will be taking note of it. To have such a futuristic, large-scale township with these kind of distinct components is, in my opinion, one of its kind. So this also is an advantage, that this fourth city or the future city actually will become a destination by itself, and therefore to have a presence or a footprint in that fourth city will also be a matter of great pride, and it will also bring lots of traffic in a normal way also to your doorsteps. So these are some of the things which I wanted to share with you. Now the timelines are like this. The land, as I told you, the entire 20,000 acres are already with us. Master planning has been completed. We now know where the zones are, and we are now reaching out to potential clients in different kind of lines of activity. So through this call, I'm appealing to some of you. In some other ways, I'm reaching out to American universities. In some other way, I'm reaching out to people who run sports academies in the US and elsewhere, and we are trying to bring the best kind of companies and agencies to participate with us in the development of this future city. So the government of Telangana is partnering with Touch a Life Foundation, TAL, as we all know them, and they are also one of the organizers of this conference. So if you show interest to kind of become a part of this medical tourism hub in Hyderabad, please meet Mr. Kishore or anyone else from TAL, register your interest. He will also pass on my mail ID to you, so that if you want more clarification, more information, I'll be happy to do a one-on-one call with you and give you more explanation. If any representative from your organization is in a position to come to India and see things for yourself, eventually seeing is believing. I can go on and on and on and tell you all kinds of things, but if you are able to come for a day and see how this city is shaping up, that itself will give you lots of confidence, etc. And if there is anything else that you require on behalf of the government, so as I mentioned right at the beginning, I represent the state government. There is also a federal government, but in case there is something which you need, which needs to be addressed by the federal government, we will be very happy to take it up, get the required rules and laws or reforms carried out, so that your ability to set up an institution in Hyderabad, treat international patients, and provide your global services, high quality services to people, that really will materialize. So once again, I'm delighted to interact with you like this. As I said, please express your interest if you feel that the value proposition that we are offering is very, very strong. And I do travel to the US also. I was there a month ago, and possibly in March or April I'll be making another trip, but we need not wait till March or April. As I said, with the help of Mr. Kishore or other representatives of Touch a Life, please get in touch with us as early as you can, and we'll be happy to fast track your journey. So thank you very much, and have a very useful and productive conference.